Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nicole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nicole.
Hey, it is Transformation Tuesday over at Loving Me Before I Love You. Y'all, we have been in the month of June for the past couple of weeks, and this upcoming week is Father's Day. And so, I had to get an episode in on dads. The statistics and all of the different things that are going around about dads simply say that they are no good and that they're deadbeats. And we don't really like that. So we wanted to bring a little positivity to fatherhood over here. And we want to talk about the bond between fathers and their children. I think it is one of the most precious bonds anyone can actually ever have. We promote mother-child bond all the time, and the mom gets to hold that child in her belly, in her womb for 9+ months and create a connection that dads don't really get to create until that child comes into the world. Now, granted, they make that connection emotionally when they have accepted that they are about to be a father, but that physical and emotional connection actually with the child doesn't get to start until that child actually is birthed. And we don't talk about that bond. We don't talk about how important it is. We talk about all the negative stuff. And this week, we're going to highlight the positive. And I do have a guest with me. I have wellness coach Jay with me. He is a dad as well as an entrepreneur and personal trainer. So he's going to talk about his journey of fatherhood, his bond with his children. And we are going to talk about the importance of why promoting father-child bonds is super important. And because I know I have a lot of ladies that listens to the show, we're going to also talk about the role you play as mom in creating that bond and basically cultivating the bond between father and child. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This is a very important topic to me. I know, off air we were talking, but I really have a desire to see dads have a little bit more positive shine when it comes to their relationship with their kids. Society don't really want to do that for us. So we got to do it for ourselves. When you think about a father-child bond, tell me the process for you as a dad. Like, when did that bond start? How did you cultivate it? How are you continuing to cultivate it, etc.?
Man, that's a great question. It starts immediately. I mean, your life, it changes everything. Like when you have your first kid, it just changed everything. Like it gave you a deeper sense of having a why. Like, it gave you a greater sense of purpose. You stop thinking just about, about your own personal success. Now you're focusing on a legacy. Like, oh man, I got a legacy. I'm not just building to see what can outlive me. Now I'm building to pass it down. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's just so amazing what children can do for you. And, in the melanated culture, that role is solidified when you have that child. Like, then you really become a man, then you really become a woman. So because they're like our greatest teachers, right? Like, we're going through life, and then when you have children, you just learn so much about yourself. You get to watch another human being grow, and it's really amazing. It's a very humbling experience too. So
it is. I think I guess we can start really when you found out that you were gonna be a dad. Did it become fearful, or did you become superhero in your own little way. You know what I mean? Like when you heard the words, I'm pregnant, we having a kid.
Yeah, you're like, oh, okay. Well, it's my whole philosophy is having a no excuse mindset. So it's like it's here now. What can we do to prepare for it? Right? This thing is happening. It's real. It's really happening. And so yeah, you're just excited. You're a little overwhelmed, especially with your first one, and you're like, hey, what do I need to do? How do I need to step up so I can make sure that this mouth that is going to be dependent on me is fed, taken care of, food, water, shelter, have all the things that it needs. And then you just have like an explosion of, man, everything that this child could be, right? You're like, man, you can see him being this. You can see him being the president. You can see him being a minister. You can see him being a business owner. Like you could just see him being so much like all in the glimpse of the eye. And I just remember thinking that specifically in that moment. It's like, man, it's so amazing. And then when the birth actually happens, then you like relive it. It's like your whole life flashes before you when you're seeing this incredible thing. There's nothing like that first time. So
I believe I agree, even though I think every time is different, I have a mother's perspective, but as a dad, let's talk about, you have 4 kids, right?
4, yeah.
3 boys and a girl. So I'm sure that there's a difference in having your boys and then having a princess.
Yeah.
What's that difference? You know what I mean? Like we all know the gender roles that differ when it comes to she can do no wrong and y'all suck it up.
Gender roles are always going to play because, those are our societal norms. But I always take each individual as themselves. Like each one of them are so different, that you just have to, you can't just say, hey, this is the parenting style and y'all accept it. Like you just learn and you're growing from them. And you just got to be real with them. Now, the young lady, like the boys might say, hey, do this. You might tell them multiple times. But young lady, you sit down and have a talk with her. She going to get it done, right? She going to make it happen. So you see that maturity too as well from the queen. So
I think he just admitted, y'all, that us ladies mature faster, but we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna. I mean, there's always a debate.
No, they do.
That because when we be trying to tell y'all in our adult life that we're a little bit more mature than y'all when we the same age, and it's like, y'all a little 2 years, 3 years behind us. Y'all don't be liking to hear that. So it's quite interesting when you say it from a child perspective of watching kids grow up and how they mature at a different rate.
Yes.
When you were building your bond, because I'm sure, they're kids, so you're still building that bond. But when you were building it and navigating the ebbs and flows of parenthood, trying to discipline and trying to nurture, trying to show a pathway to them at the same time, trying to make sure that they kind of learn some stuff along the way by themselves. How did you navigate that as a dad and still keep your position intact?
One thing that's real big with us and that's been foundational and a crucial piece is, Bible studies together, family Bible studies and praying together, and then sitting down. We would sit down weekly and have weekly conversations, open it up where they could talk to us and let us know different things. So there's always open line of communication. And as we know, as adults, communication is the foundation to every relationship, right? So we know, hey, if we're communicating, if you're honest and open with me, then I'm going to do everything I can to help you in every situation. And that's what really works, because they have those principles in them. And I feel like that's why it helps you navigate through the situations. There's so much wisdom in the book that when you do reach a crossroad, you go to that and search it out, right? So,
but how is that what are those conversations like?
It depends. Give me like a specific, maybe like.
I'm just saying, like in general, you're saying the communication is what kind of keeps the relationship solid and together. How old are the kids?
So we got two 14s, a 12-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Okay, so we had those teenagers. How are you? Like, how do you build that level of communication with them so that they always know that they can kind of come to you about any and everything that we're quick to say we have an open door policy, come to me about any and everything, but how do you really foster that level of communication with those kids?
Well, I mean, it starts early. So those seeds are planted early. Like, hey, we're sitting down having these conversations. So that becomes the norm. Like, I don't wait until we get a bad situation and then say, oh, what's going on? Will you talk to me? No, you haven't talked to me for years. Why would we going to sit down having this conversation? It's just not going to happen. But if I'm doing that when you're 5, hey, come down, sit in the room, we're going to chop it up. And I'm doing that when you're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all through your life. Hey, I might call you on the phone. Hey, you got anything you need to talk about? Hey, we talking and chopping it up. Hey, then I'm going to play basketball with them, right? I'm a wellness coach. So getting active is very important with me. Conversation that we wouldn't have at the dinner table, guess what? We're having those when they're playing basketball because now we're playing. They're saying me struggle, they're struggling. We're struggling together. So they're more prone to open up, right? So basketball in the driveway, family hikes, late night talks. Birthday celebrations, spending quality time together. It builds trust. Like it builds a relation. So they're more open and prone to have those conversations. And then you just know how to navigate them from just if you're planting that seed early and often. Like if you're not planting it, you might want to start planting it now. Because I've had guys that I've talked to, I've mentored, and they say, man, I wish I would have sat down with my kids. I wish I would have did what you did, was sat down with them all the time.
Yeah.
Those are not only my children, those are my friends. So I'm making sure, hey, if I got free time, because one of the most valuable things you can give to your kids is your free time, right? You spend some brothers and sisters, they spend all day watching sports, Saturday and Sunday. And guess who's the only person seeing you do that? The kids just sitting there watching that. Oh, he don't watch football all Saturday and all Sunday, and then he got to go back to work, right? But if I say, hey, we might watch a game together and then we're going to go out and do some things together, then conversations are easy to be had because we spend our time together, right? Who you talking to? But so you're not going to wake up one day and just say, who is this kid? You're not going to,
right.
You're going to know. I know, boom. And then you know your children better. If you talk to them, you're going to be able to spot things immediately. Hey, you having a bad day? Hey, you all right? You need to talk about something? Oh, no, I'm okay. But you already know what's up because you've been talking to them. You can see, and 80% of the communication is nonverbal. And we know don't nobody know us like our parents, right?
If they spending the time.
If they're spending the time. Some real parents, I'm talking about the real men and women that's spending time when I'm talking about parents. If you're spending the time, you should know them babies, right? And if you don't know them, get to know them, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, take a break from going out and, I think sometimes people, they value more other people than their own family at home. And that has to change, right? They got to reconnect. Hey, I'm out here, I'm going to go play basketball with the homies, but you need to be playing basketball with your children. Maybe if you've got some kids and y'all can collaborate and do it together and build up and you're going to knock out two birds with one stone, but the priorities got to switch. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think another thing that you said was we struggling together, but a kid being able to, what I say, humanize their parent, to me is the golden jewel in bridging the connection. So a lot of times when we grow up, I can just remember as a kid myself, you are looking at adults like they've never been kids, right? They have this thing about them that just like, y'all don't understand because you ain't where I'm at. And you don't, kids can never really imagine their parents or adults in their lives ever being where they were. It's like we understand that, we all were born and every year the year changed and we got older. But it's just like having that visual that they were once in that same spot. Like they were really once 13 or they were really once 16 and 18 and 20. It's like when you can humanize yourself from your child's perspective, it almost is when you crack an egg and it pops open, it's like, boom, we can do this together. When you said do the struggle or they see the struggle, how open are you in reference to your own past experiences that they may be experiencing now? Like, do you agree with full transparency with your kids? Like, how do you navigate that space?
Well, I would say, you tell them what they need to know. Each one's different. But so, um, my father passed when I was 15 years old. So a couple of my children are right there. So, and so when you go through a traumatic experience, you can truly remember a great bit of everything that was going on. You can really put yourself back in that time. So I'm really sensitive to them at this age, because I remember myself at that age and I see myself. And then with him passing at 15, it just makes me value where they are so much more. And, and being, I remember being a teenager and not feeling like my voice was heard, because we come from the authoritarian society where, hey, you don't question us, right? Yeah. You don't question us. We might be wrong about everything, but you don't question us. And that's not really parenting. It's backwards, where your kids should question you, right? That's who's going to keep you on your toes. Hey, why are you doing that? You told me not to do that. You told me not to hang out all night, but every night I see you come in at 2:30, 3 a.m. Yeah. You told me not to be doing X, Y, and Z, and then every time I go out to the garage, I smell a little something strange. Mm-hmm. It's just like, but you think about that and have those conversations.
So you do agree with being transparent with them as far as like sharing what you've done or haven't done, or where you've been, haven't been, so that they can have a full understanding of what it is.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, it's just like if I'm mentoring adults or young adults, people best relate to people that have stood where they've stood. So you might as well just go ahead and tell your kids the truth, because they're going to be able to more relate. Like, oh, you went through this too? Okay. Yeah. Now I don't feel like I'm the only one.
Yeah. I remember when I was growing up, and, it was taboo for parents to really tell you their whole truth. Right? They wouldn't say much of nothing. And the fear of it was that you would use it against them when you did the act, right? So if smoking weed was something you did as a kid, and now your child is in that space, you wouldn't tell them, oh yeah, I smoked so-and-so when I was so-and-so, because when they get there and they actually go try it, they can be like, but you did, and they use it as an excuse. So parents used to not want to have that level of conversation until after their child had reached or perhaps participated in the act, for them to be like, don't feel bad. I did that too when I was your age. It's like, we don't want to expose before they even per se participate in it. What's your thoughts on that? Do you wait until they have experienced, or do you share because they're in that age realm?
Well, it depends on, once again, it depends on the development and maturity level. Each one's different, but if you feel like that's what needs to be done at that time, you should definitely step up and tell them and share that with them. Because sharing with them is going to really, it's mentorship, right? When you get a mentor, it helps you get past the roadblocks. And we don't want our kids meeting roadblocks and stumbling, so you might as well be honest and tell the truth to them. Right? What do you got to lie for? But here's the catch. Some people haven't changed. I used to do this as a child. Now I still do it. You see what I'm saying? So you a fool. And then so you think your kid's not doing it? They're just mimicking your behavior. A child is nothing but a mirror reflecting right back at you. They're going to do what they see you do. If they see you around, they say, oh, well, you doing it. Hey, why can't I do it? You say you used, now if you say you used to do it, it's something different. Hey, I used to do this, X, Y, and Z, but I don't do this no more because of X, Y, and Z. Okay? So I'm going to help you out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I used to struggle. I mean, I have, my own kids or whatnot, and I used to struggle with the idea of that word friend, right? Because I'm like, no, I'm your mama. Like, like I'm your mom, I'm not your friend. But then as I grew in my own practice of mental health, like being a therapist and understanding, the dynamics of parenting, different cultures, and, just the whole gamut of being a therapist, they do need friends, right? And not only that, where do they learn true friendship if they're not learning it at home? And so as their parent who's supposed to show them any and every thing about being an adult and being a human and just being interactive with people socially, etc., if you're not the first friend that they have, then what are they really learning about real friendship?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's powerful. So true. Yeah. Because you could really set them up for some failure down the road if you're not establishing that, because they're going to still look for whatever.
They're going to look for a friend. We all want friends, right? Like you, as a grown adult, you want a friend. You know what I mean? Like a lot of us look for friendship within our significant others so that we have a lifelong friend no matter what. But there's still that desire to have a friend, someone that you can confide in, someone that you can kind of like hang out with and experience life with. And you're with your kids from birth until 18 at a minimum. Yeah. If God allows everybody to live, you're with them at a minimum until they're 18. So it's like everything that you desire to experience, you have to teach them what that experience is like. So when I think about that father-child bond that rarely ever happens currently, because, there's a lot of reasons. Some is by choice, some is by force. But I think it's important for dads to see the importance of that bond with their kids from day one. Like, it's important to have that bond. I don't care if you're not with that mama anymore.
1000%. I always say that your presence is more powerful than your perfection.
Hey, hope you're feeling the love in today's episode. We'll pick back up where we left off in a moment. First, we're excited to share that Tammy has a collection of self-love t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and journals for you to express how much you love yourself to the world. From comfy hoodies to motivational mugs, there's something for everyone. While you're listening to today's show, feel free to browse the full collection at IamTammyNicole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
A kid's not looking at your perfect track record. They're looking at, hey, is this person showing up for me? And then for the men that's going to listen to this and say, well, she ain't letting me see them, do what you can when you do see them and pour into them as much as possible. Show up at sporting events, show up at the school events, show up at the conferences, show up for that. Let them show up and they're going to know, man, you've always been there. They're going to know. They're going to know. Hey, and guess what? We got video, voice chat. Hey, call me at lunchtime. Hey, we ain't even got to deal with it. You can act as crazy as you want, but I'm going to still nurture this relationship. Right?
Yeah.
And for the women, know that a man is so valuable in your children's life. Let's put aside petty differences for the men and women. Let's put this aside. This is our child. This is our baby. Yeah. We're watching it grow, and we're hurting him or her.
Yeah.
Because we got some differences, because we mad because our relationship didn't work out 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Come on, but we're supposed to be adults, and they looking at us. Think how foolish that looks, and we want to ask them to do something. They said, "Well, I've been watching y'all for 20 years, act like fools."
Yeah, and a child's identity resides in their dad. I remember when we would do baby dedications when I was younger, growing up in church, and baby dedications would happen. And my uncle he was the pastor, and he would be leading the baby dedication, and he would always have the daddy whisper the child's name in their ear during the process to instill their identity, because it's like he's the leader, right? The dad is the leader of the household, the leader of the village. He's supposed to kind of like give you instruction and direction, etc. And it's like when these homes break up, that all kind of dismantles. But it shouldn't have to dismantle to the detriment of the child bond with the father. And I do sometimes feel like, there are some men that don't want to be there because they don't want to deal with the drama of the mom. But I also think that there are some women who infringe on that relationship between father and child because of their own pettiness, using children as pawns to get back or get what they want out of that man. And that child had nothing to do with that.
Yeah. And I mean, it does so much. 1 in 4 kids grow up in a home without the biological father, right? And what does that do? Higher risk of poverty, higher risk of behavioral problems, higher likelihood of dropping out. And you know what dropout comes with? Increased risk of incarceration, and greater risk of substance abuse. This is what hurt. But, we got this epidemic going on, and we hope that the next generation maybe thinks about, hey, who am I having this kid with?
That
right?
part.
Somebody that I really see myself with for 18 years. Am I mature enough to see this right now? Okay, maybe I should wait, because it's something that has to change, because we can't continue to go on like this, right? That's the devil's biggest tool, is to rip apart these families. There was a guy that was on, he gave a YouTube interview, and he did some SAs, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And they was asking him, interviewing, like, how do you find, he's like, I look for houses without any Christianity and no daddy, no leader, no guard, right? And then I know that the woman is going to be so tired, she's going to need some help, so she's going to allow me just to stroll right in. And he went on this thing. I mean, it was hard to watch, but I was like, man, this is crazy, because this is what we're opening ourselves up to. Because now your child's going to look for a male role model, and who's that going to be? Like, is he going to allow it to be his father, or is it going to be the next guy, or this person that he sees on the street corner, or this guy that he met at the basketball court, but the guy doesn't have function with principles, so he's not really a good role model. Now you got somebody in your house that you don't even recognize, right? And it starts there. Like, people are like, oh man, it's just that this next generation is getting so bad. Where do you think it started at? Let's change it, right? But we're not enough of us. I don't know what your audience is like, but not enough of melanated people. Man, we got to get back into God's word, right? We got to get back into the word and get back into it and make sure we're actually aligning ourselves with it, because our life is going to begin to change when we do that. So I just wanted to say that. I don't want to get too.
No, you're absolutely correct. I think we have to refocus. And if we are modeling, because we're talking about the father-child bond, if you even go biblical, what is your bond like with God? Like, he is the first daddy. So, like,
preach.
Like,
so, I mean, and that's what, but you look at the script and say, hey, wife, submit yourself to your husband as he submits himself to Christ. So understanding that, like, if this person is doing that, then they're going to be submitting themselves, and they're going to be a principle center individual. So ladies looking for a man that, hey, has a principle center. Oh, he fine, girl. Oh, he got 4 baby mamas, but he fine. I'm gonna get with him. Give him another one. Give him number 5. But he got no principles. Ain't there? Then you got a man that ain't there for his 4 kids. You think he's gonna be there for yours? Don't be a fool. Come on.
Yeah. But you have to know what that bond is like. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times we don't know what a father-child bond is like because there's so many missing. Man, like, I think about my own father-child bond between myself and my dad. And it's like, there was always something there, even though it was never nurtured to the way that I would have desired, right? But when kids come looking for their fathers, I think sometimes dads don't know how to embrace the child where they are due to the shame of where they wasn't. Like, I wasn't there for you. I know you coming to me now, but I don't really know how to embrace you now because I wasn't there for you then.
Yeah, I'm actually I got a friend that we were mentoring and with and working with, ministering to, and he had that same situation, that very identical situation. Had not really been able to be there for his kids, had some substance abuse problems, and because his father wasn't there for him, it was like a generational curse. But you know what I told him? Just show up, man. Show up at his football game. Let him know you're going to be there. He's standoffish now because he's waiting to see if you're going to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And guess what? Now the relationship is flourishing. It's growing. He wants to spend time with his dad. He's going to church with his dad after 14 months. This is real talk. All you got, show up. He still has a father-sized hole in him that he needs filled that only you can fill. You just got to show up and deal with it because you created the issue. Oh man, he ain't doing it. Hey, you created it. So be a man and stand up. Just like you, man, and lay down and have the baby. Be a man and stand up and be there for that young man or that young woman.
Yeah. It's very, 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 very important because the aftermath of a dad not being there, not having the bond is, it becomes generational. You think it's just in the moment of providing financial stability per se for the woman, but it's more than that. You create situations where they feel like somebody's always going to leave. It makes it difficult to have relationships with other people when daddies say they showing up and then don't come. And moms too, but we focus on dads this time, so, but I really applaud and appreciate dads that actually do show up and do stand up, because when you don't, the trail of events in the end is way more catastrophic than them first 18 years.
Yeah. It's yeah. You're definitely right. I was coaching this corporate team, this corporate wellness, and the lady, she had went and bought them all 23andMe's, and one of the guys went and found out that he had a brother. So when he found the brother lived about an hour and a half away, grown man. Wow. So he went and found the brother, but the brother was a screw up and stuff. So the father, who was well off, he didn't want to meet him. He said he done messed his life, so I don't even want to meet him. It's like, yeah, that's probably because of you. Like you see what I'm saying? Like that goes. When you talk about that, made me think about that, because it's like, yeah, you got to take some responsibility for that.
Yeah. But we applaud those that are doing the job, like that are actually standing up, that are actually, standing in the gap, even for kids that are not theirs. There are a lot of men that really will stand in the gap for children who are not in their DNA, that are just in the neighborhood because they come to their house all the time with their kids, and they eating and they hanging out for games and they playing on PlayStation and they, being in the yard, but that their biological father isn't present, that they would actually, fill in the gap. And so I applaud those that actually even do that piece, and there's some that don't even have biological children that will do it. Yeah. Be it a bonus dad, be a coach, an uncle, a mentor who really just have a passion for kids, that have a passion for them to do something beyond themselves. Yeah. I really think we don't give enough credit, and it's Father's Day weekend coming up, and we want to give the credit to those that actually stand up, that actually do. I don't want to see another single mom Father's Day card ever. You know what I mean? Like, I think those are ridiculous. We have to celebrate those that are doing the work.
Yes, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate those. Celebrate fatherhood. It's a beautiful thing. And then maybe somebody hears this message and say, "Hey, I'm gonna let him see his kids this weekend." So,
that would be amazing.
You know what? That's right. I'm gonna let him see his babies because this is his baby.
Yeah, but not only that, like, it's like, if outside of a man being physically abusive, mentally abusive, intentionally to a child, what is the harm in letting him spend time with his kids? Children equate love to TIME. Love is not equivalent to MONEY. Love is equivalent to time spent. You love me because you came and spent time with me. You love me because you took me to the basketball game. You love me because you showed up to my performance. You buying me something, yeah, I'm going to like it for that moment because it's a gift. Who doesn't like gifts? But at the same time, when I call you and ask you, can you come over? And the answer is no, that gift becomes less valuable. And we have to step up and stand outside of the tangibles of just buying to overcompensate.
Yeah.
So it's Father's Day coming up. I want moms to, if you're a single mom and you've been keeping that child from that man, and he honestly really wants that child, step outside of yourself, pick up the phone and say, hey, it's Father's Day. If you have time in your schedule, please just come get them. I'll meet you, do whatever. Start building that bridge for that kid. Because the thing that, we talk about self-love on this channel, and the bond between a father and a child also affects how that child loves on themselves. Because when they are missing the other half of them, they don't really know how to love the whole them.
Yes.
They need all of them. And you have to really encourage them to be involved with their kids' lives. Period. If you were to give, 5 tips to dads on how creating a bond, maintaining a bond with your kids, what would you tell them?
I would say read that word with them, pray with them, and then the last 3, spend time, getting to know them. Because that when you spend time, you're gonna figure out what they like to do, what they enjoy. Get to know your children, man. Get to know them just like you get to know anybody else. Just like you pursue them, ladies, or whoever you're pursuing, pursue your children in the same manner.
That part.
And so I heard a good quote. He said, a good father is one of the most unsung, unpraised, unnoticed, and yet one of the most valuable assets in our society.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today to help promote father-child bonds because they're very necessary. I think the first father-child bond you need is the one with Jesus. The second one is with your earthly father. And I think if you don't have it and you desire it, do what you can to find it. If your dad is no longer with you, again, my condolences for, that missing piece. However, ask God to send you a male figure that can be a positive father figure in your life, that can give you that piece that you're missing. Because it's definitely necessary in order to grow in the life that just the world we're in. Having that father figure, mother figure, those things are important for guidance, as you grow through life. And so knowing who you are allows for those bonds to even be even more magnetic. So if they wanted to reach you, I know that you're a wellness coach. I know we've been talking about father figure, and I know you mentor. Where can they reach you?
So I'm on TikTok, Wellness Coach J, and then I'm on Instagram as Get It Right Fitness. So if you're looking for, another activity, we can help you create a workout routine, but maybe it's a workout routine we can do for father and children, and y'all can do it together. So, but wellness it's a thing. It covers all aspects of life. I cover 8 aspects of wellness. So it's got something for everybody.
Awesome. So y'all heard it from him. You know where to connect. We hope that you reach out, especially if you need any wellness tips. Remember, love yourself so much the love from others is a bonus. If you need any coaching, reach out to coaching@IamTammyNicole.com. Thanks again for joining us. And y'all have a good one.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nicole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you'd like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.